Welcome back to Unlock English Podcast, the place where we unlock the secrets of learning English, one episode at a time.
I'm Miley, and right here with me is Quinn.
Hey everyone! Today we're tackling a big question. Is listening the secret to speaking fluently?
I mean, wouldn't it be great if we could just listen to English and suddenly become fluent?
Like magic, poof! You listen to 100 hours of English and bam! You sound like a native speaker.
If only it were that easy.
But seriously, does listening really help you speak better? Or do you need to do more? Let's find out.
Okay, first things first. Listening is huge when it comes to language learning. Think about how babies learn their first language.
Exactly. They listen for months before they even try to speak. They hear words, patterns, tone, and one day they start saying mama or dada.
So if it works for babies, it should work for us, right?
Well, yes and no. Babies are surrounded by their native language 24/7. Every single sound they hear is in that language. Their parents, siblings, TV shows, songs, even random conversations on the street, all in their native tongue.
Right. And they also get tons of repetition. A baby might hear the word apple 100 times before they finally try to say it.
And when they do, their parents get super excited. Oh my gosh, you said apple.
Exactly. They get positive reinforcement, and that encourages them to keep speaking.
But for us, learning English isn't the same. We're not babies anymore, and we're not completely surrounded by English 24/7. So we need a strategy.
And that's where active listening comes in.
All right, let's break it down. There's passive listening, and then there's active listening.
Passive listening is when you just have English playing in the background while you do something else. Like listening to this podcast while scrolling Instagram.
Or playing a YouTube video while you're half asleep.
Exactly. Your brain isn't really focused on the language. It's just background noise, like music in a cafe. You might pick up a word or two, but you won't retain much.
It's kind of like leaving a book under your pillow and hoping you'll absorb all the knowledge while you sleep.
Oh, I wish that worked.
Me too, but unfortunately, language learning doesn't work like osmosis. If you're not consciously paying attention, your brain won't process the information effectively.
On the other hand, active listening is when you're fully engaged with what you're hearing. You're focusing on the words, catching new vocabulary, noticing how sentences are structured, and paying attention to pronunciation.
And even more than that, you're making an effort to understand. You might pause the audio to repeat a phrase, rewind to catch something you missed, or write down useful expressions.
For example, if you're watching a TV show in English instead of just sitting back and watching passively, you could turn on subtitles in English, not your native language. Repeat lines out loud to practice pronunciation. Try to guess the meaning of new words from context before checking the dictionary. Imitate the tone and rhythm of native speakers.
And maybe even try summarizing what you just heard. That way, you're reinforcing what you learned.
I love that. It's like training your brain to process English in real time.
Exactly. The more you engage with what you hear, the faster your brain connects the dots. And when you start repeating what you hear,
That's when the magic happens.
which brings us to shadowing.
Shadowing is a super effective technique. You listen to a sentence and immediately repeat it, mimicking the speaker's tone and pronunciation.
It's like being a parrot. A very intelligent, language-learning parrot.
Exactly. But the key difference is that instead of just repeating sounds without understanding, you're actively training your brain to absorb and produce English naturally.
And the best part, you don't need a teacher for this. Just grab a podcast, a YouTube video, or even a movie and start repeating.
But wait. Shadowing isn't just about repeating. It's about matching the speaker's rhythm, intonation, and even emotions. If the speaker sounds excited, you should sound excited too. If they're asking a question, your voice should rise at the end, just like theirs.
Right. Think of it like singing along to a song. When you sing, you don't just say the words, you match the melody, the timing, and the emotion of the singer. Shadowing works the same way.
And there are different ways to do it depending on your level. A beginner. Start with slower audio and use subtitles. Repeat after the speaker, focusing on clear pronunciation. Intermediate. Try shadowing without subtitles and increase the speed slightly. Pay attention to linking sounds and natural flow. And advanced. Shadow in real time, meaning you speak almost at the same time as the speaker, just a split second behind.
Oh, that last one is challenging, but it really forces you to think and speak fast, just like in real conversations.
And if you practice consistently, your mouth and brain get used to forming sentences naturally, without translating from your native language first.
Pro tip: start with subtitles first to get familiar with the words, then try shadowing without them.
And if you want to take it to the next level, record yourself while shadowing. Compare your pronunciation with the original audio and see where you can improve.
I love that. It's like coaching yourself to sound more natural in English.
All right, time for some myth busting.
I love this part. Let's clear up some common misunderstandings about listening and speaking fluently.
Myth 1. I can understand English, but I can't speak it.
Oh, classic. So many learners say this. They can watch movies without subtitles, follow English podcasts, and understand native speakers, but when it's their turn to talk, they freeze.
The truth? If you understand but can't speak, it's not because you can't. It just means you haven't practiced producing the language enough.
Think about it. Understanding is passive, but speaking is active. Just like you can watch people play basketball all day, but unless you actually grab a ball and practice shooting, you won't be able to play.
Exactly. That's why you need to train your speaking muscles. Speak out loud even if you're alone.
Talk to yourself in the mirror, or better yet, talk to your pet. They won't judge.
Or pretend you're a YouTuber and narrate your day. All right, guys, today I'm making coffee. First, I add some hot water.
Oh, I do that all the time. And trust me, it helps.
All right, next one.
That's myth 2. Listening to fast English will make me fluent.
Nope. If it's too fast, you might just get frustrated and feel lost. Your brain needs time to process new sounds and patterns.
It's better to start slow. Use podcasts or audiobooks with adjustable speed. Begin at 75% speed if necessary, then slowly increase it as you get comfortable.
And don't forget, choose content that matches your level. If you're a beginner, don't start with fast-talking stand-up comedy. Instead, try clear and slow-spoken English materials first.
All right, because fluency isn't about speed, it's about understanding and responding naturally.
Hey Quinn, did you know that the Guinness World Record for the most languages spoken fluently is 59?
59. That's insane. I struggle with just 2.
Right? The record holder, Ziad Fazah, says the secret is constant exposure. Listening, speaking, reading, and practicing every day.
So basically, no shortcuts, just consistency.
All right, let's give our listeners some solid takeaways. If you want to improve your speaking through listening, here's what you should do. 1. Listen daily. Even 10 to 15 minutes a day makes a difference. The more you expose yourself to English, the more natural it becomes. 2. Repeat out loud. Don't just listen, speak. Imitate what you hear, even if it feels silly at first. 3. Use shadowing. Copy native speakers' pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation. This will make your speech sound more natural. 4. Mix slow and fast English. Start with slower content to build confidence, then challenge yourself with faster conversations. 5. Focus on key phrases. You don't need to understand every single word. Just catch useful expressions and patterns. 6. Use different types of listening materials. Podcasts, movies, audiobooks, interviews. Each source helps you in different ways. And be patient with yourself. Fluency takes time. Focus on progress, not perfection.
And most importantly, have fun with it.
Exactly. If learning feels like a chore, you won't stay motivated. Watch shows you love, listen to music you enjoy, and find ways to make English part of your daily life.
Turn learning into a habit, and before you know it, you'll be speaking more fluently.
So, is listening the secret to speaking fluently?
Listening is a big part of it, but it's not enough on its own. You also need to practice speaking actively.
Think of it like learning to swim. You can watch 100 videos about swimming, but unless you actually get in the water,
You're not gonna swim.
same with English. Listen, repeat, and speak every day.
And that's a wrap for today's episode.
If you enjoyed this, don't forget to follow us and share it with a friend who's learning English.
See you next time on Unlock English Podcast.